Fazul was made the chief executive officer of the Private Security Service Regulatory Authority. I think it was a mistake to appoint him in the first place. It is even said that he had a case. I don't know whether he's not qualified to be a CEO of any government body, or he's unfit to be a CEO of something to do with the security regulation board. I am unable to know where to start, but I'll just try as much as possible to talk about him, even if I do it sifuavakanili. First of all, before I start that, at the end of what is happening, it is now becoming very clear what his intentions were. It is now very clear right now of what his intentions were at the beginning. I remember when I started my security firm, in the process when it was not yet, before it was even registered, I had applied for the registration, and at that time, I had not received the license. It was at that time that somebody approached me. He was a caretaker of a place there we used to guard, and he asked me, at the end of your company, what do you intend it to be? I said, hey, we have some people who start small companies, like Ford. If Henry Ford was to wake up in the morning and see all the Ford vehicles in the world, would he say that even when he started, he had an idea of having such a big company? No. I told him it's hard to imagine of what you want at the time of beginning. It is hard to think of what you would want the company to end up in. Today, I agree with him. I agree with him that you should have an idea of what you want the company to be. If by luck it later blows out of proportion and becomes as big as Ford vehicles, Ford Escort, Ford Capri, Ford what? If by luck it expands to that beyond your even imagination, so be it. I am looking at the way Fazul has turned around the industry, security industry, so much that you can even not know you cannot differentiate the head from the tail. But forgive me if I say that recently he said that he wants to start the security industry to be like Uber, where you dial a guard, Okay, he made a point there, because we have some occasions when you just need a guard for 2 to 3 days, and you want a very efficient guard for that period and time. What happens to the guard before that time and what happens to the guard after that time is none of your business. Just like an Uber. You want to drive from A to B, you just pick a phone, the Uber comes, you enter the Uber, you are light after paying, it goes. He wanted the Uber security services, something like that. We can clearly say that. To some extent, it is okay. To some extent, it is okay, because suppose you hire tents in an open field. You pay the field for the usage of your annual general meeting. You hire somebody to come with a public address system. You hire for seats, tents, and something. But during that time, the 3 or 4 days when you're having your annual general meeting, you will require security services. So according to him and things that he had organized, I can see that when he joined this, that is what he wanted. He wanted to kill security companies, and then you have just a one-stop place like Uber, whereby you need security services to guard your field for 3 or 4 days for the annual general meeting. For 3 or 4 days for the annual general meeting. Then after that, they go away just like the Uber. And that is why he set so much conditions and he wanted to ban so many security companies. I think if I look at his end product and I look at how he started, you cannot convince me otherwise. It is just obvious that he had a plan to do that in the beginning. Let me start with the way he started with the beginning. He started, first of all, with the re-registration of security companies. Re-registration of security companies, whereby he had an intention of having, let's say, a certain number of security companies doing security work. But to me, even at that time, I had wanted him to look at the fake security companies. We have so many security companies which are registered as security companies. Yes, we have some companies which are registered in other ways other than security company. Him as the CEO for the Security Companies Regulation Authority by then, he should have just first of all established how many security companies are there, how many of them are active, because we have so many companies that are dormant. He should have recognized them, and then after recognizing them, it is not for him to set conditions, but it was for him to at least even find the people who have these dormant companies and try to establish why do you have dormant companies. I would like to tell you that as a director of one of the registered security companies in Kenya, I would have wanted him to know why many security companies are dormant. Security companies are dormant because of the reasons that I'll explain in this video. And he would have done that. And for a security company to be there, it has two advantages. It has two advantages. One, it creates jobs to the guards. It creates jobs to the guards. So the government's security companies regulation board or authority should have assisted those dormant companies to be active and not to set high standards for those which are not dormant and then deregister them. You see, if you deregister a company, some of the companies that he attempted to register had each had hundreds of. Imagine a company well known. I think if I'm not wrong, Senaka was also mentioned, and if I'm not wrong, Senaka has not less than 400 guards employed. Forgive me if it is not Senaka, but I know of a company of that level that he tried to deregister. Now the company is like Senaka has over 400 guards. I'm not even talking of office employees. I'm talking of the guards guarding premises. Not even if we have to include employees in the office, the secretary. Those are the coordinators, the supervisors. Now he deregisters a company that has so many guards. He does not even go to those what do you call dormant security company to find out why they are dormant. I'll tell you why they are dormant, but you see, he did not do that. So he's for a company like that one now to be deregistered, if he would have succeeded, then that would have meant that those employees will lose their jobs. The second thing that security companies do, apart from employing guards, they pay taxes to the government. They should pay taxes. He should have just put there a mechanism, because we like any other business, it is possible for a company with say 100 guards to register that they have 50 or something. That one is there in all industries, including security. He should have taken steps to know that every security company should have an updated register to show how many guards or how many assignments that they have signed so as to pay for taxes. But he didn't do that. He only chose about 20 to 30 top security companies and registered or attempted to register all others. That is how it was wrong. And then he set up a figure. He said that from now henceforth, security companies should pay guards at, I think, 15,000 per month. And that is when I suggested that no, don't place it that way. What you should do, instead of placing it at 15,000 per guard or anything, we should, just like hotels, we should have various levels of 5-star hotel and 1-star hotel and even kiosks. In that, if you are to walk into a 5-star hotel and take a cup of tea, I think you'll pay that 500 shillings for the cup of tea. But if you go to 1-star hotel or even a kiosk, you can get the same tea at 20 shillings. This is what I wanted to say, that we should have, let's say, people like banks. You see, I don't know why APs are still guarding banks, because these are police officers who are paid for, by taxpayers. Now, if you reach a place when you have a permanent unit of the National Police Service, which is just there to guard banks every working day, that is unfair, because it means that certain citizens with the money to spare, they can take away our security and make it their personal security, and those are the financial institutions. I had suggested that we have, let's say, 5 levels of security. For example, 5-star security should be security officers who are trained in the NYS, and further on they go to Magadi GSU for firearms handling. So that in that security company, which I don't even mind it being a parastatal like the NYS, you have a section of the NYS which is specifically for armed guarding at the banks. Secondly, that one should also, that 5-star should be there for this cash in transit thing. Now you want to tell me that a guard who's guarding at a gated community should be paid the same amount as a cash in transit guard? No, no, no. In fact, cash in transit guard, I would expect to earn even 3 times what the guard in a gated community is. Why? Because of the level of threat. It would be very much impossible to find a guard at a gated community being killed. Actually, the thing that is guarding are the vehicles of those residents of that court. But what about cash in transit? Cash in transit and the guard who guards at a bank, armed guard at the bank, usually can be killed because of the millions of shillings that are being transported from the banks to the ATMs, from the banks to the ATMs around, and such things. So those should be armed people. They should be young, because in a gated community you'll get somebody, my age mate, in the mid-60s, just guarding there. 5 minutes after whatever, he is already sleeping. So we have to grade them according to uh, their threats. I would say that 5-star should be both the guards who are armed at the bank and the guards who are doing cash in transit. Two, I would say that grade 4 would be these normal guards who are guarding at financial places. Let's say that you're about to enter the bank. You get there those security guards from private security companies who would frisk you. Those would be, say, grade. I mean that those ones would be 4-star security service. 3-star would be places like guarding high-ended hotels, like keep five-star hotels, or even up to 3-star hotel. Those guards are supposed to be good in speaking English, good in presentation. These are the 3-star who would be in high-ended hotels or even high-ended residents like what do you call Muthaiga, Mudhangari, Karen, Nyari, Gigiri, such a thing. Those are should be 3-star. Then 2-star guards would be guards who guard middle Buruburu and so on. And 1-star would be the whatever. So that you find that a person who is guarding a gated community is not paid like a cash in transit guard. That is why I talked of whatever different levels of what, but not you just not just say that every guard should be paid at least 15,000. You'll close down this smaller. We have already had very many what do you call very many registered companies which are dormant. They are dormant because the market forces do not allow them. And instead of Farouk, when he was the CEO of private security companies, regulation, he wanted to kill more and add up to those dormant ones. Now, the other thing that Farouk did not, to him, he assumed that that the security companies are the companies that are anti-security. No, let us say this thing, and I would just challenge anybody to do that. Go to any gated community and talk to the chairman of the court, the chairman of the court or the chair lady of the court. Ask him or her how much that gated community pay per guard. You'll not be shocked to find that some even pay up to 12,000 per guard. And I can tell you that 12,000 is an upper figure. We even have problems where you try to convince the gated community that they need only one guard during daytime and they need 2 guards during the night time. You try to convince them that, but okay, they want as many guards as possible, but they want to pay as little as possible. You end up saying that they are not going to have a day guard, and you see, this is a place where you have said that your opinion is they should have 1 day guard and 2 night guards. But because of what they want to contribute and what the guard would have to be paid, you find that you only have 1 guard at night. And what does that guard get? 9,000. They don't even pay everything at a go. You find that you end up, they give you, let's say, 7,000 or something cash. You look for your 2,000, give it to that guard, and then during the month, as the month goes on, you continue collecting from those people to replace the 2,000 that you gave the guard. Remember, you yourself, you also need an office. You yourself, you also need supervisors to go there. There's a time people even complain that, you know, for somebody who's in the intelligence or who has been in the intelligence, we like feeling things the way they are on the ground. So I used to find it quite normal for me to go every day. You just find me there with the guard, gumzo, palava, up to somewhere around 9 or 10. Then I would go home. But people would complain that you own a security company and then you yourself, you are the manager, you yourself, you are supervisor. Why don't you look for a supervisor to do that? Okay, getting a supervisor means a lot of, it means not only paying him or her, but even paying him or her more than what you pay the guards. So the thing that, and I saw a lot of people, especially this estate near Nyayo House, Nyayo Stadium, called Madaraka Estate. You'd find, I grew up in that place, MF43 Doake. You find people, someone that just turns to you and tells you, JMO, so we grew up with you here. Where do you find people? Where do you find people who come to steal or anything or whatever? And then you say, okay, but the vehicles are to be guarded. When you say the vehicles are to be guarded, they say, but the vehicles are insured. So you find that, okay, I don't want to go deep into that because we used even to have problems where somebody who has no vehicle complains. First of all, the houses. You find somebody has rented out his house, his or her house, and has said that he or she has rented out the house, and in the tenant list sheet, it is indicated that security 24/7. So you go to the tenant and say you tell the tenant that you want money to pay the security. He says no, but look at the lease agreement we had. When we settled for that money, I was told that there's security for 24/7. So you go and look for the landlord or the landlady. The landlord and landlady said the property you are guarding and the people you are guarding are the tenants. So go and see the tenant to pay for security. And then you play a trick there. Say, okay, there are 48 houses in the court. One or two houses I can pretend, because if you make it public that some people are not paying, you'll make those who are paying also not to pay. So you just go around pretending as if everybody is paying. What am I saying in so many words? I'm saying that we should look for a way where it should be addressed that people should pay for their private security, especially those who stay in gated community. I would say that I used to even find some people in Madaraka Estate really really surprised because one, they say, okay, I've given the example of them being surprised that they pay the lease agreement was that there is security 24/7. You want us to pay for night guard? We don't even have day guard. I'm even supposed to ask you where's the day guard. And in the lease agreement it is written security 24/7. We have those ones, but we had some who are even very very funny. You know, he wonders why he pay for security and he pays for taxes. So what I'm saying in so many words and so many minutes is that Fazul, in his capacity as the CEO of Security Regulatory Board, he should have had a, what do we call, public participation, and then from there he would have gone there for public, especially those people who stay in gated community, to tell to try and explain to them why they should part something more for security purposes. Fazul would have done that to assist, as I started by saying, to assist two groups. For people in the slums to be employed as security guards. That is one. And two, the companies will pay taxes. Not only will the companies pay taxes, but also uh, creation of jobs also creates indirect taxation, which would go to the government. But I've discovered that from day one, he started off with an intention of starting Uber security. We I don't know whether there is a law or a regulation where we can ban him for life for commenting or even involving himself with anything to do with private security. He came to spoil, and spoil he did. God bless you, my viewer.